Grace and peace on October 7th as we're talking about being spiritually fatigued. So, once upon a time, a long, long time ago, not in a galaxy, but right here on Earth, I was on a swimming team and taught swimming lessons, and I swam all summer long, belonged to the YMCA, and that's why I could swim during the winter. So I was a lifeguard, and I did teach swimming lessons to the littlest of kids, and a woman who was 96, actually. She tied herself to the pole coming in. It was fascinating. But anyway, you're wondering why I'm telling you this? Here's why. I learned a lot of lessons learning to be a lifeguard and swimming, but one of them was don't fight the water. The water will always win. Now, I was taught it in this kind of way. If there's enough water to swim, there's enough water to kill you. That was a little frightening, but it was kind of meant like this. If you relax and don't fight the water will help you. It will support you. It will sustain you. You will float. So if you fight the water, you're just going to get exhausted, and the water won't. So, don't fight the water. The water will win. In this time when a lot of us, I would say all of us, but I don't know all of us, a lot of us are feeling exhausted. Maybe now you're understanding why I'm talking about swimming. I'm also talking about exhaustion. And I'm also talking about the prophet Jeremiah, who understood exhaustion. Because Jeremiah didn't fight the water, but he sure as heck was fighting God. Jeremiah didn't want to be a prophet. So God came to Jeremiah and said, I have appointed you to be a prophet to the nations. Not surprisingly, Jeremiah said, Sovereign Lord, I don't want to speak. I'm only a child. Yeah, not the first time God had heard that line, right? So, God said, don't be afraid, for I am with you. So, naturally, Jeremiah went. Jeremiah wasn't thrilled, but he went. He prophesied, spoke, gave the message. Wasn't always the most enthusiastic about his task. Tried to avoid it, and I think you can probably understand why. Because no one is really thrilled to hear that doom and gloom is coming because of God, because we've erred and strayed. So the message didn't go over very well, and Jeremiah complained back to God. Whenever I speak, I cry out proclaiming violence and destruction. So the word of the Lord has brought me insult and reproach all day long. But if I say, I will not mention him or speak any more in his name, his word is in my heart like fire, a fire shut in my bones. I'm weary of holding it in. Indeed, I cannot. And this went on for 40 years. Right? Jeremiah preaching, proclaiming God's message, and, nobody listening. No wonder Jeremiah was exhausted, spiritually exhausted, and filled with discouragement. So I reflect on Jeremiah, and I reflect on trying to fight the water, and I think about what's going on right now, and I think about Reinhold Niebuhr and a prayer he wrote in the 1930s when there was, let's say, a Great Depression that had come in and a drought for a decade that took the topsoil off the plains and blew it clean away. And we had then, after that decade, a decade that brought World War I. There was a lot going on that was out of people's control. And when things were totally out of their control and they couldn't fight it because there was no way they were going to win and they were exhausted, Reinhold Niebuhr wrote this prayer: God, give me the grace to accept with serenity the things that cannot be changed, the courage to accept the things which should be changed, and the wisdom to distinguish the one from the other, living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, trusting as Jesus did this sinful world, not as I would have it, trusting that you will make all things right if I surrender to your will, so that I can be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy forever with you in the next. Amen.